welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really intriguing mystery. Aggiosaurus.
Right,
Okay.
an extinct creature from, what, the late Jurassic, found in southeastern France.
Exactly. And we've got basically a summary here of everything known, pulled together from scientific work in history.
So our mission, if you like, is to unpack this. Understand how it was found, classified, reclassified.
And why scientists are still debating it. So where do we start with Aggiosaurus?
Well, I think what's really interesting from the get-go is just how science works,
Yeah.
How our ideas about the past can shift.
Oh, absolutely. Things change.
Yeah, dramatically sometimes. What seems certain one decade can look very different later. Aggiosaurus is a perfect case study of that whole process.
Okay, so let's dive in. It all kicked off 1912. H. Cambarak found a fossil near Nice.
That's the start. Capdagiolaturbi.
Right. And here's the first twist. In 1913, Ambarak looks at this thing
Uh-huh.
and says it's a megalosaur dinosaur, like Megalosaurus. He even named it Megalosaurus nicorensis,
Wow. Okay, so straight away, it's pegged as a big land predator.
found near the sea, but thought to be one of the classic big land dinosaurs. Imagine that.
Well, back then, paleontology was still developing rapidly. Fragmentary finds were common.
Sure.
And comparing a large reptile fossil, even one found near the coast, to something well-known like Megalosaurus, it probably seemed logical at the time.
It shows how the picture gets clearer bit by bit, doesn't it?
Definitely. New puzzle pieces change everything.
So fast forward quite a bit to 1982, and here comes the real, curveball moment.
Ah, yes, Eric Bufftot.
Buffetal looks at it again and basically says, hold on, this isn't a dinosaur at all.
Right. Big reclassification.
He figures out it's a metriorhynchid, puts it in the Celatosteuchia group.
Some marine crocodiliforms, distant relatives of today's crocodile.
Exactly. Our land giant is actually an ocean-going croc relative. Quite the turnaround.
It really is. And Thalattosuchia, they're fascinating. Crocodilomorphs that went back to the ocean?
Adapted for sea life.
Totally. Streamlined bodies, sometimes tail flukes, limbs like paddles. It's convergent evolution, really, like dolphins or ichthyosaurs developing similar shapes for swimming efficiently.
Okay, but here's a key issue. Why is there still debate?
The evidence. Or
Really?
lack thereof.
We only know Aggiosaurus from one single fossil, right?
Mhm.
An upper jaw.
Yep, just the upper jaw, the holotype. And apparently it's not in the best shape either.
It's kept in Nice at the Natural History Museum there.
But yeah, trying to understand a whole animal from just one poorly preserved jaw. It's tough.
It's like figuring out a car from just a wing mirror.
Exactly. That
Okay.
kind of limited material always brings uncertainty. You can't be as confident.
Which explains.
Which explains why some scientists have called it a nomen dubium.
A doubtful name, meaning the original fossil might not be distinct enough.
Pretty much. Not enough unique features to be absolutely sure it's different from, say, other similar fossils we might find later.
So with just this one slightly dodgy jawbone, where did things go? Buffetot initially linked it to Dacosaurus, didn't he?
He did. He suggested it was either very closely related to Dacosaurus or maybe even was a species of Dacosaurus.
Right. And that kicked off this whole debate. Is Aggiosaurus its own genus or just a kind of Dacosaurus?
And this is where the specifics of that jawbone really mattered, the teeth mainly.
The teeth. Okay.
So in 2009, you had Mark Young and Marco Andrade. They looked closely and argued, yeah, Aggiosaurus is just a junior synonym of Dacosaurus.
Meaning it should be called Dacosaurus.
Essentially, yes. Or perhaps Dacosaurus nicodensis. Their main evidence was the tooth size.
How big are we talking?
Over 6 centimeters long, unusually large. And back then, teeth that big were really seen as a hallmark of Dacosaurus among these marine crocs.
Ah, okay. So big teeth, Dacosaurus. Seems straightforward.
Seems like it. It's a measurable feature, something you can actually point to.
But science being science, that wasn't the end of the story.
Not at all. Because a 2012 study came along, Mark Young was involved again, actually.
What did they find?
Well, a couple of things. They sort of resurrected another genus, Plesiosuchus, for some species that had been lumped into Dacosaurus.
Okay, so Dacosaurus itself was maybe less clear-cut than thought.
Exactly. Maybe not a single neat group. But crucially, they also found that other related marine crocs, other geosaurans,
Like,
like Torvanistes, also had big, robust teeth.
Ah, so the big teeth Dacosaurus idea wasn't quite right anymore.
Precisely. It wasn't a unique Dacosaurus trait.
And then there's the size of the Aggiosaurus teeth themselves.
Oh, yeah, this is kind of amazing. They found the Aggiosaurus teeth could reach up to 12 centimeters.
12 centimeters, nearly 5 inches.
Yep, the largest known teeth for any metriorhynchid.
Wow. So far from just being big like Dacosaurs, they were actually record-breakingly huge.
Absolutely. Suddenly, having large teeth wasn't just not unique to Dacosaurus, but Aggiosaurus had the biggest of the lot.
So what did that 2012 study conclude about the teeth?
They concluded that the evolution of these big teeth was probably homoplastic.
Meaning it evolved independently.
Right. Different lineages evolved big teeth separately, maybe because they were hunting similar large prey or something, like how wings evolved independently in birds, bats, and insects.
Similar pressures leading to similar solutions.
Exactly. So because other geosaurians also had big teeth, you couldn't just say Aggiosaurus is Dacosaurus based on that feature alone.
It couldn't be lumped in with Dacosaurus or Plesiosuchus just because of the teeth?
Correct. So it
Yeah.
seems like Aggiosaurus stands on its own as a distinct genus after all that back and forth.
It's like a detective story, isn't it? Where the main clue keeps changing meaning.
It really is. Paleontology often feels like that.
Okay, let's take a step back. The name itself, Aggiosaurus, where does that come from? Seems
Yeah.
pretty specific.
It's quite straightforward, actually. Aggio comes from the place it was found, Cap d'Argila Turbi.
Right, the type locality.
And Sauros is just ancient Greek for lizard, so lizard from Aggio.
Makes sense. And the species name, Nicaensis.
That honors, nice, the nearby city in France. Very common practice in taxonomy, linking the species to its origin.
Gives it that geographical anchor. Okay, so we've gone from dinosaur
Fine. Crocodyliform.
through the single jawbone problem
The Dacosaurus synonymy debate.
and ended up with a distinct genus known for its absolutely massive teeth.
Pretty much, yeah.
So just to really nail down its place, can we run through the classification quickly? Where does it sit in the grand tree of life?
Sure. Think of it like nested boxes. Big picture. Domain Eukaryota, Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Reptilia.
Standard stuff for a reptile.
Then within reptiles, it's an archosaur, specifically on the Pseudosuchia line, the croc side, not the bird dinosaur side. Then Crocodilomorpha.
Getting closer to crocs.
Yep. Then the marine group, suborder Thalattosuchia, family Metriorhynchidae, and within that family, the tribe Geosaurini.
And
Finally, genus Aggiosaurus, species Aggiosaurus nicaensis. That places it pretty precisely among its extinct marine relatives.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we started with this fossil, thought to be a land dinosaur from France.
A megalosaurus relative, no less.
And through decades of study, focusing on just one incomplete jawbone,
A really critical jawbone, though.
our understanding had completely flipped. It's now seen as this unique marine croc relative, a geosaurin, with these truly remarkable giant teeth.
And it's so important to stress, again, that this picture is built on pretty limited evidence. That single, not-so-well-preserved holotype.
It means the story might not be over yet.
Absolutely. New finds, new ways of analyzing fossils. Things could still change. The science is always moving.
Which leaves us with a pretty cool thought to ponder, doesn't it? A creature swimming in the late Jurassic seas, armed with teeth nearly 5 inches long.
Yeah, what was it eating? How did it live? What was its role in that ancient ocean ecosystem?
And what else might be hiding in those rocks near there?
Hmm.
Nice. Just waiting to be discovered. That single jaw hints at so much more.
It's a great reminder of how many secrets the past still holds.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for diving into the Aggiosaurus puzzle with us.